Welcome back, viewer. This is Chungu cha Jamii. Today we are talking demonstration. Previously, we had a segment on the same where we are talking masters to do with demonstration, but from the angles of reporters. Today we are having it from the angle of the church and also business. Everything that is affecting the society, we're looking at it in different ways. So before we went on a break, we are talking about how the president wants to salvage us from being a debt-free country. So you had telling us something.
Let us, I agree with the president. As a nation, as a people, we should be independent. Mm-hmm. We should be independent in the sense that mm-hmm. we should borrow less mm-hmm. and generate more. Mm-hmm. But let us question ourselves. From the time that we got independence in this country, mm-hmm. now Kenya is 60 years. Mm-hmm. 60 years old, if you're in the government, mm-hmm. you are going to retirement. If you are a father, mm-hmm. you have to leave inheritance for your children, mm-hmm. isn't it?
Yes.
In this nation, mm-hmm. it has taken us 60 years to realize that we should be self-reliant. What are the policies and frameworks that will make us self-reliant? I'm sorry to say, mm-hmm. we are talking about, His Excellency the President is talking about taxes. Mm-hmm. There is the finance bill in court. Mm-hmm. What are the issues in this? People are talking about overtaxation. Mm-hmm. Because you are taxing, for example, house levy, you are taxing mm-hmm. that amount of tax mm-hmm. and you're not increasing the salary of the civil servants. Mm-hmm. Are you pressing them down to build them shelter, or are you creating an environment where they can have shelter mm-hmm. and also have bread and food on the table? Mm-hmm. He's a businessman. Mm-hmm. In business, mm-hmm. the market is very important. He will agree with me. Mm-hmm. In business, market is very important. Mm-hmm. But more so in business, the customer is very important. You might not be able to be, you might be selling vegetable there. Mm-hmm. I'm also selling vegetable, but my customers might not be your customers. What that relationship did they build until this person become my customer? You know, that is an income that you're receiving. When you say you're busy doing business to bring in more customers. But we are doing business of pressing the citizens down in the name of independence. Especially financial independence. Africa has never been financially independent. And that is something that Africa should be able to look into. But then, mm-hmm. what is the trajectory? In a which span of years will we be able to have, now we are independent, mm-hmm. and now we can do this and this. Mm-hmm. Is it in 10 years? Mm-hmm. Is it in 3 years? Mm-hmm. Is it in one financial year?
I think they're saying in Vision 2030, that is when we are going to get all this said and done. We are going to have...
Where is 2030? We are going to...
Just here, okay. There are the corner.
If you can allow me to interject.
Coming to you as you add on to your point. Okay. Maybe you can also, as you add on to that, maybe you can also take us through the implications that the demonstrations are having in terms of business at large, in different business. Maybe talking from... like our government had said, it's a bottom-up affair. Mm-hmm. Maybe as you're talking on that, you can take us across the different scopes of businesses as a business person, being in diverse areas. So from this lower person who is Mama Mboga, who is the laundry lady who comes to do my laundry, or for these who are doing masonry, who are doing casual labors of a day-to-day activities, that they are no longer now doing it. Take us through bit from level to level up to the white-collar jobs, those who are fortunate enough to work from home and those who are not fortunate enough to do that.
Okay, allow me to start from that Kibaki era. Mm-hmm. People did not realize that Kibaki refused to start with this constitution. And he had a purpose as to why he didn't want to work with this constitution. Because at that point, he knew that Kenya was not mature enough to handle this constitution. But what happened? We forced it to our people. Now, the reason why I've just touched the years back is to see the effect of the decisions we make as a country, how it gets to affect us as a nation. Now, during the Kibaki's era, what Kibaki used to do, he was like, it's dignity that can make our country change, but not trying to force dignity to people.
Very true.
Because that's what this constitution is doing, trying to force dignity into leaders. If these leaders don't have dignity, let's not force dignity into them. Because you see what we have transformed our country to be. It's like an institution whereby people just siphon on money instead of helping this country. They hide this money outside. Why am I touching on this topic? It's because during Kibaki's era, the government could make enough money to sustain this country in terms of paying salaries, even to have that leeway of salary increment, because the government had a lot. But now, as you can see, we are so much spending money on recurrent expenditure to a point whereby our taxes are not enough, until to that point we have to borrow. And that's what is leading us into all this. So for me, I will just say, can we sit down as a nation and see where we went wrong? Even the Azimio leader, Raila Odinga, spoke of this constitution, despite it being part of us, but there is that aspect, that window for change. So why can't we sit down whereby the government and the opposition and the citizens at large get to agree, now this constitution, we have it with us. So is it the many counties which is siphoning too much money from us? What should we do about this? Should we reduce and remove these unnecessary positions, which can make us, salvage more for the sake of making our nation better, for the sake of us reducing that aspect of us borrowing much? Because this aspect of the current government trying to expand that window of taxation for us to get more, it's okay. But the question is, you already want to siphon more from where there's nothing.
As we look at that, we're ready to siphon more and we have nothing. Actually, from that angle of siphoning, and like we had on the news, I'm forgetting his name, when he mentioned about the amount of money that is going to do the repairments of the damage caused during the
Cabinet Secretary of
Kipchumba Murkomen, the CS for
transport and roads and transport.
The money that they talked about.
You know,
and now again, they are mentioning it as a nation, as a citizen, as a society. Us who are paying the taxes are going to face it hard. So that means whatever we're paying is not going to be enough, that they're going to ask us for more.
This is why I'm saying, and you will forgive me, this is why I'm saying we should be able to face the realities of our times. Right now, we are talking about economical problems.
Exactly.
But apart from economical problems, we also have a lot of social problems. When we talk about the mind of every citizen in this country, I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to be very critical in this. There's a problem with the way our mind is set. Why am I saying like that? We believe so much on what we hear than what we can do. We believe so much in copying everything and implementing nothing. We believe so much, and this administration believes so much that there's money in Kenya, which partly yes, partly no.
Absolutely.
We have money. If we cannot say that we don't have money, but we are in a system where the poor continue becoming poor, the rich gets richer. He brought the aspect of when the late President Stanley Emilio Moi Kibaki was in power. How did President Moi Kibaki build Thika Road? How much money did we borrow to build Thika Road?
Nothing.
How was we know how SGR was done. If you go to Tanzania, Magufuli did the same SGR without borrowing, with a more or less amount of money.
Exactly.
What is our problem? That's why as a church, you also mentioned what the Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, the CS of Transport, said about the damages caused. Who went to that place to see those damages? Who is auditing? Who is auditing this system? Who is auditing the whole system of governance, starting from your own governor at home, starting from your member of county assembly, coming all the way to the top? Who is auditing? Who is employing the auditor general? Who is employing who is employing the auditor general? Who is employing the anti-corruption leader? Who is doing all these things? Are they able to do their job effectively? Look at everything. Let's audit our problem. We have economical problem because there was COVID-19, there was war in Ukraine. Of course, what affects you directly affects me directly. The whole world was affected. We cannot say because Russia is a superpower. We cannot say because America is a superpower. The economy is large. They are stability. They have a foundation that they can run on. They are affected in one way or the other. But why is it that Africa is affected the most? We are dependent. We have been made to depend on something.
What is this? That you
We are
depending on?
slaves to depend on something. We are in a spree of borrowing. Why is that our economy is made in a system that if we don't borrow, we cannot run? Yes, we should be able to get something. But His Excellency, during his campaigns, he said, Mama Mboga, mtu wa bodaboda. Sindio? Mtu wa chini.
True.
You mentioned the laundry lady. You mentioned so and so. Mtu wa chini. Then, right now, huyu mtu wa chini ndiye analia sana. What miracle are we going to perform so that we don't see people in the street? As a church leader, we are going to give guidance, spiritual guidance. We'll be able to give spiritual guidance. We'll be able to talk to the church leaders, but we are going to be able to talk to the congregation, but are we able to audit? Are we able to question the administration? Are we able to tell? Are we able to give guidance? Are we able to rebuke, reproach? Do we have that leeway? Do we have that system that is going to do that? We should ask ourselves that question.
Just to quickly add some more effort on what he's saying.
Okay.
There is this culture inculcated in us as Africans. We call it the culture of impunity. That impunity is selfishness. That's what makes us never to be okay with what we have. I'll just give an example. Like DRC Congo, it is one of the wealthiest countries in the world,
Actually,
with a reserve of $23 trillion worth of minerals.
yes,
But still,
the richest.
people are the poorest. What does that tell you?
They're still
Africa.
experiencing civil war.
Yeah. That shows.
The United States, the United Nations soldiers, they are still in Congo.
I have a question now. Away from looking to what the government can do. I agree the government can do so much for us to be able to be more united. But is there anything that we can do as a people, starting a change from us, starting a change from this platform? This is why we are here, to discuss a solution, a way forward, without looking and depending so much from the government, but rather seeing we can be able just to make those small steps as we wait for the big steps.
Eunice,
Yes.
let me ask you a question. The same question. What are you doing in your family setup, in your house, to train your child differently? It starts from there.
Sure.
It starts from which kind of conversation you are having on the table in the evening. It starts from how do you treat your children that makes your neighbor's children wants to come to your house. It doesn't, yes, we might blame the entire picture. These people were throwing stones. These people were running here and there, police and the police cat and mouse battle that we can see on the street on our TV. This is not something that started today. The Bible says, bring up your child in the ways of God. In which way? Right now, there's a time that I was a generation that was being brought up. But right now, I am bringing up a generation. What do I teach my children? What do I tell my son? What do I tell my two daughters about life, about this country, about this constitution, about everything? If I teach them right, we are going to have a right nation. But we have taught wrong, we have done wrong, we have criticized what is wrong and what is right, we have condoned with the wrong in the name of being positive, and now we are reaping the fruits of what we have sowed.
Wow. Maybe coming to you, Mr. Michael, before we take a short break. I'll ask this, then we go for a break. When he is talking about making change just from home, because we say by the end of the day, charity begins at home. So we start there. Now, you having done that from a family aspect, now coming into your business, the people you mentor, the people that are working for you, what do you tell them? How do you caution them so that by the end of the day, you don't have them, in as much as we're having so much changes right here, they'll be able to stick and say, I'd rather stay here, learn, and progress, rather than going out and demonstrating, and yet they're in a position to see and relate with whatever is happening and agree to continue working and making a change and seeing a change also for themselves and the family. Before you answer that, let us take a quick break.